So it's probably not gonna reach anybody till later, but that's okay. It is what it is. I was guided to do this. I actually already recorded this Sunday night and it got interrupted, so I didn't post it. Um, and I'm not sure what the quality was on that stream, so I'm just gonna do it, um, redo it. Okay. So I'm going to pull some cards, but before I do, because I was guided to post this message for my light workers and my shadow workers. Before I do get into this message, though, I just want to say that I'm going to go into the breakdown first before I do the reading. So, um, I would suggest probably listening to the breakdown of this because it's a whole message within itself and how spirit, gave me the guidance and so much more so the download of this particular episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender, um, which is a dope show. It's amazing. I love it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into that about the episode and the downloads that came to me. And I might slip in some Dragon Ball Z shit in there and some Sailor Moon in there as well. Um, yeah, some Sailor Moon because they kind of tie in together, and I found some slight synchronicities just within those series as well. So before we start the reading, which will be at more so at the end after the breakdown, I'm going to use the Afro Avatar Tarot, which is inspired by the Last Airbenders cards. You guys might have seen me use them on my channel before in the past, but I'm going to pull some of those cards because it's only right. Okay, so Spirit wanted me to talk about this particular episode, and I was actually watching Dragon Ball. It was a fight. It was a battle scene from Dragon Ball Z that I was watching on YouTube. And then, ironically, of course, because Spirit knows I love the Avatar. I've been getting into that. Um, show me this. It was the last episode of The Last Airbender. It was season 3, episode 16. And that was the final battle between the Fire Lord and Aang, which is the Avatar, the Airbender. So we're going to talk about that particular episode. You can find it on YouTube rather than watching the full season. If you don't want to watch the full episode on Netflix, because they have all of the seasons of Avatar on Netflix. But if you want to just go straight to the battle scene without it splitting between, because in that final scene or the battle at towards the end of the show, it kind of splits between the Fire Nation's what's it called, Zuko and his sister battling, and Katara also involved in that as well. So it kind of splits in between different scenes. So to skip past all of that, they have the full battle, cutting all those parts out of it, and it's probably like 10 or 15. I can't remember. It's probably like 15 minutes long at the most. So you can find that on YouTube. Anyway, so there was a battle between the Fire Lord, which comes from the Fire Nation, versus Aang, the Avatar. So the Fire Lord, what I was gathering from it, if you know the whole thing about the show or whatever, the Fire Nation had kind of brought imbalance to all 4 nations, which would be the all 4 elements: fire, air, earth, water. Fire, air, water. Well, you know what I'm trying to say. All 4 elements. There was an imbalance within it, and the Fire Nation had an obsession with rulership and having dominion. In this particular episode, the Fire Lord was talking about how he was going to destroy the Earth Nation. And, the Earth being the mother energy, being the soil, that would really fuck everything up. So, Aang, his duty was to fight the Fire Lord in order to bring back balance in all 4 elements. And ironically, it's for viewers right now and for likes. That's interesting. So to restore balance. Um, so I noticed a similar theme. So with Dragon Ball Z, not Dragon Ball Z, sorry, Sailor Moon and the Avatar in that episode, they were talking about the eclipse. I remember in the breakdown that I did for the latest Sailor Moon release that they have on Netflix as well, they were talking about the solar eclipse throughout the entire time of that Sailor Moon movie. So there's something with that. You guys can look into the eclipse and what that means spiritually and what's the spiritual purposes of the eclipses or whatever. I thought that was interesting. Anytime there's something major or big happening in the planet, especially spiritual warfare, seems like it always happens around these major eclipses, these moons, right? Um, so spirit was like showing me something too with the elements of color, and that's what I'm going to tie it into the Dragon Ball Z aspect as well. How the Fire Nation, the color that they were working with was like this reddish color, it was like a red orange like color, which was the lower chakra energy. And based off of how the Fire Lord was acting, he was in his ego. It was all about power, control, destruction, um, that type of energy. Whereas Aang's energy, when they show him in the final battle scene, he's working with all elements, but I'll get to it in a second, like how that all ties in. But anyway, and you guys gotta keep up with me because I'll be all over the place. I'll jump from here, jump there. You just kind of gotta follow through, follow through with this because I'll be all over the place. But anyway, so what I was picking up as far as um I'm gonna like fast forward a little bit. So there's like a point where the battle is started between Aang and the Fire Lord, and Aang is getting his ass kicked like severely. Um, and at a certain point, there was like a certain point where um, what was that part? I'm trying to explain it. Like I'm like watching it in my head, like literally like playing the scene back in my head. But oh wait, before I even go to that part of the whole episode, I want to talk about the part where Aang drifts off. It was like midway into the episode where he drifts off somewhere in the middle of the night and he wakes up and it's like a forest. He doesn't know where he's at. He can't tell whether he's in the spirit room or not. So he's kind of confused. And he's trying to find his way out. He's trying to understand. And in that scene, there was like a big circle, kind of looked like a big sigil. I think it might have had all four elements in it. I don't remember. But it was like a big sigil that he sat in the middle of, and then he went into a meditative state. He went within himself to seek guidance from the ancestors, which were um, all of the elders from all four nations that came to him, and they were just giving him um, different wisdoms. So when he tapped into the first guide or ancestor, he parted with him and he says, "You must be decisive." So when he said that, Spirit talks to me also in biblical codes and messages. So when I heard that part, "You must be decisive," um, James 1 and 8 came to me, which is a double minded man is unstable in all his ways. So in spiritual warfare, you can't be double minded. You can't be double sided. You can't be split in your energy. You have to be whole and sound and grounded within and within the task. You can't be split and fragmented, right? So that stood out to me. Um, One of the ancestors said justice, only justice will bring peace. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because it plays a major role in the last scene where Aang has to make a decision how to handle the Fire Lord, because obviously we know he wins the battle, and he restores balance into the earth. But it's also the decision part of it, the whole like the honoring the self, but also honoring the higher order of things, because the Fire Lord is exhibiting being in his ego. It's selfishness. It's all about self. It's all about power and control and dominion. Um, there was also another part that stood out to me. He was talking to the last guide, and I think she was from the Fire Nation. And she was saying to him that he has to be selfless in his duty with his call. Because basically, what it is he's chosen to restore balance on the earth, right? So there was a part where he said, wait, I thought I had to detach from the world. The can't remember what he said, but he was like, the gurus, basically, I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, the gurus told me that in order for my soul to be free, I had to detach from this world or from this earth. And she said that's very true to some extent. She said a lot of the gurus reached spiritual enlightenment through detaching from, you know, this physical reality. But she said, your duty, though, your duty is for towards the world, to protect and save the world, basically, is what she said. She said, um, selfish duty causes you to sacrifice your own spiritual needs and do whatever it takes to protect the world. So she's saying basically you have to, when you are called to do certain things as far as like your spiritual purpose, as a light worker, as a shadow worker, whatever, you have to be selfless. It's not about you. It's not about your wants or your needs. If you're called to certain things, or you're called to or assigned to help people, or assigned to do whatever it is specifically, whatever that help is, or assist, or to shift, whatever it is, it's not about you. It's not about your own personal needs. Sometimes it's like, it can be painful. Anybody that knows what it's like to be on a spiritual path, like, it's not about what you want. It's not, you don't get that, I wouldn't say luxury, because sometimes it's not a luxury just to be just free and just fucking shit up and just doing whatever you want, because there's consequences with that. But when you've been called to certain things, you have to be in a uh, certain type of responsibility, and authority comes with that. The scripture that came to me at that point was, be of the world, but be not of it. And that's John 17:16. So you can be in the world, be a light worker, be a shadow worker, but that doesn't mean you fall into what the world does. So in a sense, you are kind of still detaching from the world, because you're not blending in with society and its disorder, its dysfunctions. Um, and then John 3:16 came to me, where it says, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whoever believe in him shall have everlasting life, or something along the lines of that. I might be paraphrasing that wrong. But basically what it's saying is that sacrifice that you make as a light worker, as a shadow worker, that is the Christ consciousness. You give up your own selfish needs and your desires for humanity, which humanity in a sense is out of order. It's destruction in some senses. It is hatred on the planet. Those types of things you're giving up, and it's not from a place of being weak, or because some people think that sacrifice means you're being weak, or um, this is the thing though, and this will tie into everything else. I know I'm all over the place because I be channeling as I'm going along. At the same time, I have notes, but stuff still comes to me. Um, the thing is like, to in order to reach that Christ consciousness energy, which is the higher chakras, Christ conscious energy, it starts, the gateway and the portal is the heart chakra. That's the gateway to the higher chakras. Solar plexus, yeah, to some extent, but the heart, when they show you any depiction that they show of Christ, they always show you the heart. They show a sacred heart. They call it the sacred heart. They show you a heart that's either on fire or it has a crown on it. That's the crown chakra. The gateway through the heart, or the heart chakra, is the gateway up to the higher chakras. And I'm going to talk about the colors and all of that when Aang goes into his avatar state. But anyway, so fast forward back to the battle scene. There's a comet that is approaching the Earth, and then it makes me think of it's some sort of, I think it's like two different scriptures in the Book of Revelations where they talk about some type of the stars falling from the sky or the planets falling or something from the sky. Basically, this battle looked like the end of the world. The Earth was about to be destroyed by the Fire Lord. He was trying to destroy the Fire Nation, aka destroy the earth, bring destruction to the earth. They talk about that in the Book of Revelations. I'm not saying literally, but I see the play on like how they use certain things in these cartoons. It's all the same. They always have like a Christ-like figure, and they always have like a Lucifer, whatever, dark figure. They always have those types of figures in these shows. Um, anyway, we're not talking about literal biblical stuff. I'm talking about it in a spiritual way, like in a symbolism. So the whole entire sky is red, and that's like another depiction that they talk about in the Book of Revelations, how the sky is completely blood red. That's how you know that is the end. That's what they say. The end, of course, brings a new earth, which that's what Aang is doing. He's restoring the earth. So not to jump too far ahead, but that's what I took from that. Um, there's a point where Aang, like I said, he was getting fucked up. The Fire Lord was fucking him up, and he was holding his own to some extent. He like shielded himself with his earth bending, because the thing is that Aang, the only reason why Aang was able to battle the Fire Lord is because he had to go through a series of tests with different nations. So he didn't just master his air bending, but he also had to master the water bending, the earth bending, and the fire bending. So he had to go through all of those. The fire bender, that was his thing. Like the Fire Lord, that's what he was skilled in. He's a Fire Lord, but he wasn't skilled in all the other elements either. So that goes back to you being a spiritual worker, right? And you've been called to your purpose and your calling. You got to go through series of tests and lessons. Like, you might be looking at everybody else like, why doesn't this person have to go through this? Why is it so painful? Why do I keep having these dark nights of the soul? Why is this happening to me? Because it's helping you to be equipped for your spiritual purpose. Like, spirit has to make sure that you're ready. Like, you got to go through some shit. Like, how are you going to know how to use anything or how to be spiritually prepared and equipped if you don't know how to use or master your gifts, or how to work in spiritual warfare? Like, how is that going to be? Like, you're just called and say, hey, I'm just giving you this gift, and then hey, you can just go out here and just do. Like, sometimes you got to do it hands on, like light working. Y'all see it on my channel. Like, I be getting attacked on my channel. If I didn't go through those experiences, I wouldn't know how to even protect myself and probably other people as well spiritually. It's not just physical attacks, like it's spiritual as well. Um, and you probably see it on the other readers' pages too, getting attacked, or people coming on their channel talking all types of crazy shit and cursing them and all kind of, these dark entities, they be working through people. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But if you didn't go through anything, how are you going to be like prepared for what spirit called you to? So anyway, Aang had to go through a series of different experiences, lessons, and tests. And he also had to battle each master too, as well, of those four nations. So four nations, aka the four corners of the earth. What do they say? I'm paraphrasing, but the 12 tribes are split into the four corners of the earth. So that's another thing too, another kind of biblical. But anyway, so Aang, he falls on this like mountain or something, and it hits him in his back, and then it like activates it activates his avatar state, but you see all of his ancestors, as well as like a flash of all of his ancestors, and he goes into his avatar state. His eyes go completely white. It's like Storm from X-Men. And then it reminds me of when Goo-co from Dragon Ball Z, how he goes into his ultimate state. His hair turns white. It's like a bluish white color. That's the chakras outside of the body. That's outside of the crown chakras. That's like your star. It's like the heavens, the chakras outside of your body. So when he goes into that state within himself, he turns into this, and there's like an orb of blue color, like bluish colors, purples. That's the higher chakras. So when Aang goes into his avatar state, his eyes turn white, his arrow on his head, it's like his body turns this illuminated, like almost color. It looks kind of gray, but it's like a bluish silver like color. And he's wrapped in this orb, and he starts whooping the Fire Lord's ass, as you can imagine, of course. Um, so he gets the Fire Lord to a certain position to where he lays him down. And it looks like, again, like, I don't know about y'all, I'm not trying to make this a biblical thing, but if you watch that scene, the way he lays him down, it kind of looks like how when they put Jesus on the cross. It's weird. But anyway, he earth bends and uses the rocks to pin the Fire Lord down. And just before because I think he was about to kill his ass, I don't know, but he stopped. He came out of his avatar state and he went back into his soul. And he was like, I don't want it to end like this. So he thought about it. And he was like, I don't want it to end like this. So that's the decisiveness. He had to make a decision about how he was going to handle the Fire Lord, right? And then he has a memory recall, or when he was talking to the Lion Turtle Mountain, the scene splits back and he goes into this memory. And the lion and the turtle, that might resonate with someone. Those might be animal totems that might resonate with someone. The mountain says to him, in the era before the avatar, we bent not the elements, but the energy within ourselves. Then the mountain then puts its like hands, like it's a mountain, but I'm gonna try to paint a picture. So the mountain like forms into like hands and puts one hand on Aang's head and one on his heart, which is the crown and the heart chakra, right? Then there's like a green light that illuminates out of him, out of his head, out of his eyes, and out of his mouth. Like the heart. Aang is the heart. He's the higher element energy. He's operating in higher divine energy versus the Fire Lord. His energy is in the lower chakras. So Aang does the same thing. He puts his hand on top of the Fire Lord's head, and then he puts his other hand on his heart, on his chest. Because I think the Fire Lord tried to, like, he said some shit to him, like, you're weak just like your people, blah, blah, blah. And that's when he went back into that state. He clicked out of it. And then it goes also back into another recall that he has. But anyway, as he puts his hand on top of the Fire Lord's head and on his heart chakra or whatever, you see both of them, they tilt their head back, and there's a light that comes out of each of them. The light that's coming out of the Fire Lord is this reddish light. It's like a reddish orange type color. And then Aang, his is like this bluish white color. And then it projects up into the sky. And it creates this like perfect split of energy. It's like that yin and yang energy. So it's like a split. Trying to remember. I don't want to forget anything. Oh, yeah. So the turtle lion, he can hear his voice in his head. Aang can hear the voice of the turtle lion. Other words that he left with him. He said, to bend another's energy, your own spirit must be unbendable, or you will become corrupted or destroyed. And Spirit brought me back to the verse of, I think it was James. Wait, was it James? I think it was James 1 and 8, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, James 1 and 8 was the verse. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So that stood out to me. He said, in order to bend another's energy, your own spirit must be unbendable. you gotta stay 10 toes down. 10 toes down, basically, in your energy. So, otherwise, if you're split, you will be corrupted and destroyed, meaning if you become of the world, you just be like it. Be in it, but don't be like it. Anyway, once that's done, it creates this perfect split into the universe, or not a split, but it's like of energies. Kind of looks like I said, like a yin and yang energy. Um, and then after that, Aang was like, he binded the Fire Lord's abilities because he wasn't using his powers for good. He was using his powers for evil. He wanted to destroy the earth. So Aang was like, I took away your fire bending abilities because you weren't using them wisely. So the end of the whole whatever the episode, he starts restoring the energy. He's sending the energy back to the earth, clearing it up because it was like all of this fire and all of this destruction had happened, and he was clearing it up so that there would become a restoration and balance back into all the four nations as it once was. I think it was like a 100-year battle between them, or the imbalance because of the Fire Nation's desire to rule in a way that was imbalanced to the universal order, law of things. Um, so in order, all four elements have to be in sync and in harmony, and that's what happened at the end. So your whole path as a light worker is you have a spiritual duty to bring and restore balance in the planet. However, that's done, however you're assigned to do it, how big, how small, it doesn't matter. It's all of value, and everything starts with the heart. You have That's why they say, it's like, people talk about Christ consciousness, but it's not so much like, if you can take anything from the Bible and not look at it from a place of like, oh, you're doing right or you're doing wrong, because it's not about that per se. And Jesus wasn't no pussy ass nigga like they try to make him. Like some people paint it like that. He was he wasn't anything like the religious people in the Bible. They talk about the Pharisees and how they were so strict, and you got to be this, you got to be that, and they were telling Jesus like certain things that he was doing, like, you can't do that, or why are you doing that? That's wrong, that's evil, he must be performing witchcraft. And you see that nowadays with certain people, where people are doing spiritual work and all of that, and some people are demonizing it because it doesn't look like what they've been taught, what's right or what's wrong. In order to be of a Christ consciousness, you have to come from a place, from your heart space, a place of selflessness. Again, it's not about you, it's a higher order. You're just a divine vessel. So to call yourself a light worker and be like, oh, fuck everything, fuck everybody, and it's just about solely about money. And I'm not saying that as spiritual workers that you shouldn't be recompensated, or there shouldn't be a fair exchange for the energy that you put out. But if it's all about show, it's all about money, it's all about attention and all of that, then you're doing the wrong. Like, you're not the same for you. And if you're afraid to do healing work within yourself, or you totally discard self accountability, um, healing yourself, going through some trials and tribulations, and this isn't the path for you either, because this is not about this rainbow child, like, oh, we're just coming together. Like, it's not the premise of it. You're creating a new earth so that others don't have to go through those dark things, and you can I can't say that there will never be evil on the earth. I can't say that. But the way that they depict the new earth, there is no hate. There is no, um, those darker energies, those vices. Like, that's not there. The earth is restored back to its original state, balance and harmony, as it should be. So the shadow workers, y'all get it. Like, there's not too many people that choose the path of being a shadow worker. It's just not, because you got to do the things that people don't want to do. You got to say the things that people don't want to hear or say. You got to be that one, so it's not always fun. But nonetheless, like shadow work and then light work, I feel like it's one and the same. It's balance. Your goal is still the same, is to shift things and bring and restore balance. So yeah. So let's pull some cards now. I hope that resonates or makes sense. Whoever, I don't know, whoever this is meant for. Because Spirit just had me just come on here. Like, I almost didn't do this because I already recorded this. And it got interrupted. So I'm like, I don't know. I was kind of insecure about it. And at the same time, I was like, nobody wants to hear this shit. But somebody might need to hear it. I don't know. Okay. I need a pen so I can write the timestamp down. I mean, my memory is not that bad. Let me see. Timestamp for reading starts, let's do 40 minutes in. Or 31, sorry. 31 minutes in. Okay. Let's pull some cards. I will post, because the thumbnail that you see, if you're like on the live right now watching it, the thumbnail that you see is actually the original cards that I pulled. And maybe it was just meant for me to, that might have been for me, I don't know. But I'm gonna pull again, and I'm gonna update the thumbnail with the correct, or not the correct, but more so the cards from this reading. Holy Spirit, what do you want those who may resonate with this message or have resonated with this message to take from this? Or just maybe to solidify this? I forgot to talk about Sailor Moon. I love Sailor Moon. Like, that's that's my life story. So the Sailor Moon, when she goes into the Super Sailor Moon state, she turns into this she kind of looks like a fairy angel, kind of. She got the little angel wings, and she has rainbow, it's like a rainbow energy that radiates from her. So in that, it's kind of similar to how Goo-co, when he goes into his state, and there's like this aura of like all this purple and like blue colors. It's not as colorful as Sailor Moon's, but similar. um and Aang working with the four elements, it brings off a spectrum of kind of like this different colors of light, right? But anyway, so when Sailor Moon, when she goes into her state, it was through the heart chakra. Again, it was through the heart. So it was a scene where all the guardians, and I already did a breakdown on this, but anyway, I'm just showing you again. When they go into, it's the God body, they go into their God body state. That's what I call it. So the avatar state, that's the God body. When Goo-co goes into his ultimate state, that's the God body activated. When Sailor Moon went into her Super Sailor Moon state, that was the God body activated, and it was through the heart chakra. So again, I think Sailor Moon and Tuxedo Mask kissed or something, and the demon that they were fighting, I forgot her name, the bitch with the purple dress, excuse my language. Anyway, she was like, no, this is not supposed to be happening. Like, she was trying to stop something. Their exchange, because they're basically twin flames, right? If we talk about twin flames, because y'all familiar with that word, twin souls, whatever you want to call it. Sailor Moon and Tuxedo Mask, that's what they are. So when they kissed, it activated something in Sailor Moon's heart chakra. And she says, my chest is hot. Is this new powers activating? And then at some point, she goes into that avatar, or not avatar, that God body state, and she turns into, like, her aura becomes rainbow-like. That's all the chakras in alignment. So, yeah. Anyway, the gateway is the heart chakra. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at. The Christ consciousness, the level to Christ, the gateway to that is the heart chakra. All right, let's see. Spirit. What do you want to leave with this collective? And I think they try to like Aang and Katara, because they have like a little love thing. And it's a little awkward because they're like kids. They're like little kids. I'm just like, I don't know about it. But they had like a little love thing too. Um, yeah, Tara is a waterbender. Okay, so you have the Death card, you have the Fool, the Queen of Wands, and the World. Interesting. So you have three major Arcana cards. And what's even more dope is that you got the Fool in the World, which is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. That's crazy. Um, okay. So the Queen of Wands represents the Fire Nation. This is the divine feminine energy, is a mother energy. Some of you guys, I feel there could be something with the lower chakras that you guys are at present healing and annihilating, with the Death card being here. Because you're close to closing out a cycle with the World card that's leading you into the Fool energy. In order to be in the Fool like energy, you have to be in like a childlike state, meaning not naive per se, but more so in a place of like childlike faith, receptivity, but with divine wisdom. So anytime like we grow through a cycle on our journey or what have you, like we're learning something that the seed, that inner child self, never leaves. So let's talk about the Holy Trinity, I guess. Trinity, that something with the fucking something with the Matrix has been coming up a lot, so that's funny. But anyway, if you guys have been seeing maybe threes, 33, 12, it's 12:12 a.m. here. 3 3. Um, so I feel like what Spirit is saying, like when you're at a certain place within yourself, when you're ready for the next chapter, next cycle, you do have to be open. You have to be aware, willing, and ready. But it's from a place of taking divine instructions and guidance and being in tune with yourself. The Fool card is Aang, and it's kind of giving me a Hermit card too, like Hermit energy. The Hermit is done a lot of, spends a lot of time in that space alone. And when you're in that Hermit light space, you have a lot of time to think. You have a lot of time to go within. There's a lot of things that can be illuminated and showed to you. It's kind of going back to where Aang was saying that he thought in order to be free, his soul to be free, he had to be detached from the world. So when you go into hermit mode, you are detached in a sense. You are in your own energy. But when you're in that state, you can reach places of enlightenment. Just like the guru said to Aang, many have reached a high state of enlightenment by being detached, by being in that energy. But um, again, it comes with a balance with that. Like there's times where you do have to like be in your own energies, but there's also times where you do have to come out of that space. Some of you guys are coming out of a hermit energy actually, because you're about to step into a new energy, new path, and you're applying those things, the wisdom, the things that were given to you in those spaces in your alone time, those times between you and spirit, your guides, your ancestors, God. You're going to be applying those things moving forward, right? Um, with the Death card, there's heavy transformation that's taken place. It has not been easy, but it's necessary. There's something with the ego that's being annihilated. Different parts of the ego, maybe. It's not going to be the same for everybody, but yeah, it's not going to be the same for everybody. I'll say this. Um, for some of you, don't get triggered by this. If it triggers you, maybe this is where you need healing. But if it resonates, cool. I'm only saying this out of love. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that Queen of Wands, it made me think of like someone that might be exhibiting those lower aspects of like what I was explaining with the Fire Lord energy being extremely not, I don't want to say it's not narcissistic, it's self-centered. Self-centered energy, um power, like a thirst for power, being in control over things, domineering, maybe being destructive in some type of place. Doesn't have to be outside of yourself. Could be inner destructive behavior. Self-sabotage is a big thing that I've been picking up a lot lately, is like sometimes we can sabotage things not knowing, not willingly doing it, but it's because of our wounding. Pushing things away, pushing our blessings away, or talking ourselves out of great things, or pushing people away. There's different aspects that this can resonate with you, if it even does resonate. For others of you, it could be power, being kind of selfish, self-centered, everything being about you, or taking it as a way that everything has to be about the self. And if you are a spiritual worker, again, it's not about you. You got to separate it. Yes, honor yourself, have boundaries, take care of yourself. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you shouldn't take care of yourself or love yourself. But when it comes to kind of being like, let's say, kind of like a spiritual brat, like, oh, I don't want to do that because, oh, well, oh, if I do this, and there's times where I do that. I'll use me for an example. I'll call my own shit out. There's times like I don't want to post something because I'm like, oh, that looks stupid, or what if I'm showing my face, oh, I look stupid, oh, I look crazy, oh my god, I don't want to post that, oh, why was I looking like that? And spirit is like, girl, it ain't about you. Like, get out of your own way. Like, I sat you down to do this message, you're supposed to share it. And then when I do hit that public, I hit post or whatever, hit upload, and then when people comment and say thank you, this helped me, blah blah blah, then it's just like, it wasn't about you at the end. Like, you was holding this back from people that needed this. Like, that's selfish, because you felt like you didn't look cute, or you felt you said something stupid, or you didn't like the lighting, or something just ignorant, right? Because everybody, it's about aesthetics now when you post videos, but like at the end of the day, it's about the message at the end of it, and who has the ears to hear will hear it. So if that applies to you, where it's like, some of you guys, these could be your own gifts in other ways. Like, let's say you're being guided to um, be a journalist, or you're being guided to be a singer or something, and you hold your gifts back because you feel like it's not enough. I don't know how many times I have people ask me, like, should I start a YouTube channel? I don't know if I should because I don't have this, I don't have that, or I don't have the right camera. I started my YouTube channel with an old shitty ass tablet. I didn't have nothing. My setup was kind of, low budget. And I still don't feel like it's perfect now, but it's still like, it's still going to get the job done. Like, those who are meant to receive you are going to receive you. So if you feel like, oh, I don't have the proper recording studio to record this, and I don't have that, and whatever, who cares? If spirit called you to it, like, spirit's going to make a way for it to happen, and it's going to reach, like I said, it's going to reach those that it's meant to reach, whatever it is. If it's not public, let's say it's something as small as you, and that's not even small, but let's say, for an example, you're being guided to express yourself to your family in a way that you might have a fear of doing that. That's still a big act. That's big for you. That's a big breakthrough for you. It might seem small to someone else, but that was big for you. That was your breakthrough that you needed. So if that resonates with you, if not, cool. Um, but I also sense like it's a powerful energy. So some of you could be fire signs, or could be ancestors or spirit guides around you. It's something with fire energy with this Queen of Wands, because I'm like stuck on her. Like, I'm still reading her energy. But I feel like she represents the Fire Nation. So yeah. So there's an end of a cycle and there's a new one that is approaching, and you're being guided at this time, I feel like, to complete anything within yourself that you feel needs correction, or you feel like could be holding you back or blocking you, whatever that is. And you'll know because it's something that constantly triggers you. It's something that's constantly, it won't leave you until you deal with it. Or it's something that you've been peeling back in layers, like my metaphor of the onion, our healing process being an onion. There could be this one big thing as a whole that you need to heal, and you just peel it back in layers. Like, it's layers to it. It's not going to be just this one thing and then it's done. It has layers. And sometimes it'd be like, damn, I didn't even know that that was still bothering me, or I didn't know. So I'm going to use this as an example. If it's meant to help someone, it's 1221. It's 3-3 again. So 33 might be a number for somebody. And that's 6. That's balance. And it's 9 viewers, 9 likes. That's balance. Um, that's also the Cancer symbol. When you put the 6 and the 9 together, that's the symbol of Cancer. That's interesting. Um, it's a lot of healing that's going to unfold, and it's unfolding. And because we're in Cancer season, Cancer deals with the home, the family, the heart. Cancer's ruling planet is the moon. That is emotions. That is our intuition. That is the mothering energy, the nurturing energy. So it's very important that you nurture yourself at this time, that you really love up on yourself at this time. And it might be that you are dealing with some things connected to the home, connected to family, something with your childhood, your upbringing, stability, what that really means to you, things in the matters of the heart. Um, but what Spirit wanted me to share with you is like, I don't want to, but I'm going to. So I got triggered by something this morning because I've been clearing out this one specific. This was like the first person that I was ever with romantically and sexually. Like, this was my first, and it wasn't light and fluffy. It was a lot of trauma. It was a lot of abuse. So I'm still healing, peeling back layers of that. So when I say, like, literally, like, you'll be like, oh, I'm releasing this person, or I'm releasing what they did to me, it's going to bring up different layers of that. Like, different layers are going to come up. And the different layers could come in the form of a memory that you almost forgot. But for me, it was like, oh my God, this is too vulnerable. I don't want to share this, but I'm going to because it might help someone. Okay. So the the ex or whatever, he was very, very abusive in all ways, unfortunately. Like, he was um very manipulative. Like, he would do things to taunt me and like hurt my feelings. So at one point, when we stopped talking or dealing with each other, we're still in high school, by the way. This is high school. I'm at a different school now. I don't go to the same school as him, and he's talking to this other girl, and he knows how I feel about him. So he tries to get me to go on his MySpace page, and then where he has this girl all on his page, this girl that he's talking to all on his page, like in the background, and like all these little cute little songs and stuff like that. And it was like to taunt me. And I thought about that through something else this morning. Like, something triggered that in me. I don't know why, but it did. And it was this feeling of, oh, it's never going to be you. Oh, a person will never only just want you, or you're always going to be the one that they don't want at the end. It's always going to be another girl that they prefer better, blah, blah, blah. Like, that was triggered in me. Another thing that came up again, same person. And I knew it was going to happen because Spirit speaks to me in codes. That Capricorn full moon that we had last week, that person was a Capricorn. And I was like, oh, I'm about to heal some shit connected to that person. I already knew it. I felt it. So, lo and behold, different aspects of it came up, and I'm still healing from it. So, long story short, the layers, it's layers to the healing. Like, I've been releasing this person for a minute. First, it started with the sexual trauma, the abuse with him sexually, that was being released. Then it was the mental damage, the fear of being open and expressing my feelings to someone, of being rejected because of how he treated me when I did. Like, I had layers of releasing. So when you think about your healing, look at it as an onion. It has layers. So it's not something that you need to rush, be harsh on yourself, be judgmental towards yourself about. It's not a overnight process. It's not something for you to feel crippled, like just because you got triggered by something connected to the same situation or same people does not mean that you're not making progress, because you are. So the death card, like I said, it's major transformation, but it's for a cause. It's painful when you're in the midst of it because you're going into the dark depths of your healing. It's Scorpio energy. Scorpio deals with the deep, the dark emotional energy, deals with the mysterious energies as well. It also deals with sexual trauma. So for some of you, that might be where you're at as well. Take your time with that. Like, that stuff's not easy, especially when it's been sitting in your energy for so long, sitting in your memory bank for so long, and you've held on to that. It has roots. So you have to uproot it. You have to pull it up out of the soil, out of you. So take your time. Use this Cancer energy. It might make people emotional depending on where Cancer is in your chart. Um, it might, maybe even where your moon sign is concerned, like it might trigger different aspects and elements. Um, but take your time with yourself. Like, really discover, like, you, like, and or continue to discover you. Like, what is it that, in the matters of the heart that's important to me? What is it that I need to nurture more within myself? Who do I need to nurture more? Who am I nurturing? Am I caring enough for, this person that's been here for me, this family member, this loved one, this person? Am I giving enough proper time and energy into that? Do I have proper boundaries? Like, this is the time to really think about that. What does stability really look like for me? That's another thing too. Um, have fun with your healing. I always say that. Like, yeah, it's not always so light and fluffy, but have fun with it. Like, um, maybe I told one of my spiritual sisters, because she has like a thing that she deals with, and I was like, because you're an artist, why don't you draw out the you that you wish to embody and feel, that perfect body, that's not perfect body, but the perfect health that you desire, that you that is in perfect health, or what you believe to be that. Why don't you draw that part of yourself and adorn it, do the different, because her art's very dope, like the way that she draws and she adds like different fabrics and stuff like to her art is dope. But like, do that for yourself. Whether it's candles, use color magic and candles. Like your healing doesn't have to be so heavy. Sometimes it's just going swimming because you want to, and it's like healing for you, or it brings you back to your inner child. Like, it doesn't have to be heavy all the time. Like, the process of it, yeah, it can be, but and sometimes it does got to be, you know nitty. It's like you got to get to the nitty gritty, and sometimes it does have to be gutter. Like, the work that you do, it has to be intensive. It's not easy, but it doesn't have to always be looked at as like a chore. And the more and more you desire to be in harmony within yourself and with others, or you don't want to, let's say for instance, you don't want to deal with insecurity anymore, you don't want to deal with jealousy or whatever it might be anymore, and you just want to be free of that. You want to fully be embracive of love, you want to be fully embracive of people around you, or whatever the desire is. The more and more you desire that, it'll make it more easier for you to be like, nah, I can't deal with it. Like, trust me, it gets more like, it hurts, but I want to deal with it. I don't even want to deal with this anymore. I don't want to feel this type of stuff anymore. I just want to make peace with it and let it go. And it hurts sometimes. It does. Especially the deeper you go, the more it hurts. But it's needed. No one is going to heal you. It's just not. You have help. You'll have people that you'll come across in a divine way to help you. or you'll have support from loved ones or a loved one or someone that you trust, whether they're in your environment, direct environment, or they're online or they're on the phone. You could just hit them up, whatever. Or your guides, your spiritual team, God. You're not by yourself. You're not doing it alone, whether you think you are or you're not. But no one's responsible. That's the thing. Like, no one's going to be responsible to heal you. No one's going to be responsible for that. We can't blame anybody else, no matter who did it. Like, people that hurt you, they're no longer, I won't say that they're no longer accountable, because I do believe that sometimes shit comes back to people, especially if they're not in the space of remorse, or they haven't sought out forgiveness within themselves, or they're still kind of just like walking around still hurting people and stuff like that. Then I feel like that's where they get it back. But as far as a person that is willingly and earnestly wanting to do better and to heal, that's different. But no one's responsible for your healing. Like, take the experience, take the wisdom, but at this point, it's done. Like, you have to be responsible for your path moving forward after that. So that's pretty much it. I think that was a lot. That was a lot that came out. Um, yeah, like, it's a lot. I'm trying to go slow and not like put so much out there, because it might not make sense, but for some it might. I don't want to do too much, um, because some of the healing also too is, and you have to discern what you're healing, because some of the stuff that you're healing is not just your stuff. Sometimes you're healing generational stuff, and 9 times out of 10, if you're a light worker, especially a shadow worker, you are most likely being called and led to clear your family trauma through you, so that you don't, it stops with you, and that it doesn't manifest itself into your future generations. Like, let's say for instance, molestation, alcoholics in your family, or drug addiction, that type of stuff, or deeper things, money issues, um, mental illnesses, cancers, whatever. It might have to start with you. Most 9 times out of 10, like I said, if you are a light worker or a shadow worker, most likely you're going to be the one to clear your family of that stuff, because you don't want it to repeat the cycle. And sometimes how it's done, not only is it done through triggers, but it's done through you experiencing those very things and you pulling yourself out of it. This is how I found, or how I see how God has worked in people's lives. People that have the most dopest testimonies went through the very things that they're healing and annihilating through themselves. So let's take, for example, a person that's addicted to crack. They might come from a family that is addicted to drugs, whether it's specifically crack or not, they're addicted to drugs. Or someone in the family sells drugs or something. It's a long list of that in the family. So this person, this one specific person that's chosen to break their family of those addictions, they deal with it themselves. The one person that people think can't free themselves out of it, or will never get healed, or will never be sober, or will never be clean, is a very person that will be that, and then they themselves will be able to help somebody else with their story. Someone that's gone through abuse, let's say, because this might be a little traumatic, um, but it's real. I'm going to use domestic violence. A woman that's dealt with a domestic violence situation might have seen her mother get into um, fights with her father, or if it's not a father in the home, let's say her mother's boyfriend would be abusive towards her mother in front of her. So as an adult, she attracted men with that same type of energy, that same type of behavior, those patterns. because these are these generational things. Not only are they things that we've witnessed, but they're things, they're spirits. They're spirits as well. The spirit of, let's say, self-rejection. You go for people subconsciously that will continue to reject you so that you can heal that very thing. Be in an abusive relationship, not knowing how to get out of it, feeling like you're stuck, you're fearful of being in that relationship, but you don't know how to get out of it. Those types of things that you feel like you'll never be able to break through out of, you're chosen to break that cycle. It starts with you. Like, that's a lot of times how it happens. And I'm not speaking from nothing that I haven't experienced on my own, or I have not seen others and heard people testimonies on these things. Like, sometimes spirit will use the very thing that you're going to be healing other people with, you being a product of it, if that makes sense, just so you can annihilate it. So you're not a victim. I won't say that. Like, we're not victims. It's very heroic to go through those experiences and pull yourself out of it. This is divine um, level energy. Like, this isn't for the faint-hearted. I'm just saying, it's not. It's not an easy path. And this is not for those that want to blame the world, blame this person, blame that person. Like, it's not that. It's not. You got to see the higher order in it. It's okay to kind of like waver and be like, oh, this is fucked up. Why does it have to happen to me? And oh, this person did this. But don't dwell in that energy for too long, because it's a distraction and it's a disservice to you. So, yeah, I'm really done this time. I'm sorry. That was a long reading, or just a long video, but whatever. If it was needed, it was needed. Oh, jeez. I appreciate y'all, those of you that were listening. Because I know I can be just like, I could just talk with spirits involved. Like, only when spirits involved, because I promise I'm not like a jabber, unless I feel comfortable with people. But other than that, like, I'll be wanting to just say this stuff and get off. That's it. So, yeah. So you have the Death card, you have the Fool, you have the Queen of Wands, and you have the World card. And like I said, it's very beautiful how Spirit does things, where you have the Fool and the World. You have the last card in the Major Arcana, and you have the first card in the Major Arcana out in the same spread. So the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega energy. The World card is the triumph of a job well done. So continue to push through this energy. Not saying that it's just all the way just going to be so easy from here, but you're way more masterful in your energy and where you came from. Yeah. Yep. So much love to you. I appreciate you guys. As always, be blessed, be safe, take care whenever you watch this. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.